Because I wasn't getting both of us.
I'm gonna hit record, I guess, and then it'll start the our intro audio.
Okay, I'll hit record too then.
Make sure everything's recording.
I have people skills.
Okay, but you're helping me with this.
Excuse me.
Oops.
Oh, it was just a nightmare.
This is Help Desk Nightmares. This podcast takes a look at the interactions help desk and support techs have on a regular basis and the nightmares we encounter. Do you guys know what episode number this is?
I do.
Episode 658.
58?
Yeah, it's going to be like 65?
65 is correct.
Yeah.
Wait, episode are we on? Because I was thinking we were only, because I know we're only a couple episodes ahead. So I thought
I
we were
was
like...
going to actually go and listen to the last episode, but this was easy. But this is,
Oh, that's right, because the one... Okay, yeah, you're right. We just did... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yours was just 69,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it didn't come out in order, so no one knew that it was 69 when you recorded.
yeah.
So no one addressed it.
Hey, we're in order now.
Nice.
No, we are.
I was very jealous when you were uploading like 2 a week at one point. I was like, shit, we are not that far ahead.
Well, we didn't want to be that far ahead. That was not our choice.
That was our failed comedy kind of improv adventure project, and then that laid us.
Yeah,
we had so many facts.
it didn't get edited in a timely manner, and then everything got
Like a
backlogged, and then it was bad.
Yeah.
I guess I'd rather not be not be that far ahead then, if it comes at the expense of being that far behind. So these are,
Yeah.
I don't know how many. The dashboard on Twitch sucks, and it does not show in real time how many people are actually watching. So it could be anywhere between 3 or 7. Who knows?
Oh.
But
It's 4 right now.
Is that what you're saying?
well, mine says 3 because it's incorrect.
Dude, it's never right.
The dashboard
Yeah.
sucks, but the chat is great on the dashboard. So.
Yeah, that's really the only redeeming quality is the chat.
I have not said who the additional voices that you hear that you don't normally hear on this podcast are, but with Help Desk Nightmares today, we have 2 of the Halfway to Thundertown boys, Jay and Chad.
What's
And
up?
There you go. You'll hear them. If you're not on the Twitch stream, then you're an idiot. You could have seen them too, but whatever. It's your loss.
I am Chad,
Yes, you are.
and you are.
I'm generally Jay most days of the week. Some days I'm not.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us, Mark. This is really fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm too.
Our first official crossover because Cody's being a piece of shit and on vacation
Yeah,
this week.
yeah.
So
Always on vacation. Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
It was his birthday. What's today? The 2nd. His birthday was yesterday, and he and his wife went to Chicago.
His birthday's on April Fool's.
It is.
Is it because he was an April Fool's joke, like just for life?
Basically. I've known him too many years to make that joke again, but you guys definitely can.
Yeah, it's fresh for us.
It is.
Boy, I bet elementary school and junior high were pretty rough with that birthday. Like, is it really your birthday?
We're assuming he went to school.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, I guess we can't prove whether he did or not.
I don't know that for sure.
He may have been
Jury's still
homeschooled.
Yeah, it could be.
Then I'd like to think that his parents gave him shit on his birthday.
I bet she C-section specifically on
Oh, wow.
April Fool's just to make him miserable the rest of his life.
I hope she did. We'll have to ask him one of these times. I have not asked him if he was C-sectioned to make a joke of his birth by his own mother, so
Yeah,
I'll be sure to have to ask him that.
it's a reasonable thing not to bring that up.
Yeah, so Halfway to Thundertown is how do you guys, for people who don't listen to Halfway to Thundertown, how do you explain what Halfway to Thundertown
So
is?
at this point, we've narrowed it down to we are a comedy dark history podcast at this point. Because we jump around on so many different subjects and things, it's kind of hard to just call us. We're not a true crime, we're not just history, we're just like the most fucked up stuff that happens in the world, we're going to find a way to cover it.
Yeah, the topics can be true crime, historical stories, also maybe anecdotes, We also get into kind of the occult stuff, weird ritualistic.
Conspiracy theories.
Definitely about aliens.
Yep, we fucking love
I've
aliens.
talked about a couple really strange, like early internet stories,
Mhm.
like Time Cube, wacky shit like that. So it's really all over the place. Andy too has been starting to do movie episodes where she kind of takes not a genre but like a topic that kind of covers a couple movies.
Yeah, and it relates them to historical events like murders and serial killers.
But we're always very dumb and we're always pretty drunk. So that's kind of the only consistency.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How are you getting pretty drunk on this podcast, by the way?
So
for the Twitch
this is also another call. I feel like all I've done is call out post Cody since my mic's been live. But here's another one. So Cody has this thing where he started to bring a different drink with him, and kind of it was always like these awful ones. Like what was that garbage one? Ice House, the homeless under the bridge esque beer.
Yeah, you have 89 cents and no shame.
So what I did was I went and picked up a beer of my own, just to give him a helpful hint on how to buy beer. So this is called the Abyss. It's tequila barrels. It's aged in those for 10 months, and then it's aged for 2 years. So this beer is $30 for a 32-ounce beer.
Holy hell, that's a $15 glass.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Huh.
So Cody, take this as some advice and buy a real beer in the future.
What's the
Where
verdict?
you feel like
The verdict on this beer was
good.
It's
It's good.
It's real
It's
fun.
certainly good. Yeah.
I hear the Chad does not normally drink this this level of beer.
No, he's got a gutter palate. And
Yep.
Kingman does too.
I have the taste of a palate of a goat when it comes to everything.
Yeah.
Drinks, food. Okay, my music tastes pretty all right.
Yeah, all right, I'll give you that.
My taste in people is god awful, and sitting next to this guy.
Do goats listen to music? Would be my question about that.
See, yeah, that's the thing. No, they don't, and that's why that's the one thing that
That's why it's different. That makes sense.
yeah, that's a lot of it.
So I always make Cody at the beginning of these episodes tell me what he did this week, and I say what I did, but he never remembers what he did. I think he may have short-term memory loss, which is an issue he should see a doctor about. What did y'all do this past week?
Well, I want to agree that I also have short-term memory loss and long-term memory loss. I never remember anything. Like if it's more than 12 hours ago, it's gone. But I do
So
remember that
that's
this
12
weekend.
hours.
Yeah. That this weekend we recorded, so I'm gonna, I guess, plug really fast. We did Halfway to Thundertown on Saturday, and then Sunday we did our new D&D show, Drunken Arcanauts. And this last Sunday was the best, wildest session of D&D I've had on any campaign, not just our Sunday show. So that was so much fun.
Yeah. I just got drunk this weekend.
Cool.
That's all I've done.
That's
We-
what I
we
hear.
do
That's
live
what,
in
I'm
a-
looking, that's what I'm looking forward to on the episode of apparently what's going to come out of what you guys record at Halfway to Thundertown.
Yeah, the last
Guys are
episode was a little. It was an oldie feeling as far as how drunk we got.
Yeah.
One of those first 20 episodes.
Also,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of not a fair game what we did this week, just because we live in a little podunk town of like 30,000 people.
That's not.
And you guys live in a metropolitan area, so I always hear about all the cool shit you guys get to do. So
Yeah, one of the cool things that I did this weekend, I saw the first half of the movie Us, the new Jordan Peele flick, because the power went out in the entire theater.
Whoa.
And we didn't get to finish it. I have no idea how the hell that movie ends, but the first half was okay.
Oh.
I feel like of all movies, that's one of the worst ones to only see the first half, because it's like a suspense and having seen Get Out, like. I'm
Yeah,
sure that
the
was
worst
so
part about
rushed.
it was like every time every time something bad's about to happen, I'll say, in case you haven't seen it yet, which you're a piece of shit if you haven't, because it's been out for a couple weeks. Every time something bad's about to happen, the power goes out. So it was really bad timing that the power went out in the theater. We're like, what the fuck's gonna happen? So we got a free pass, but I'm probably just gonna wait until it comes out on Netflix or something, HBO or wherever, because I don't want to spend my free movie on the first half of the thing I've already seen again.
Sure. It very much would, yeah.
I feel like since you paid for it, you have full right to just download it off of the forum at this point. Like,
The
you
studio's
paid-
gotten my
put
money
your
already.
in. Yeah.
I also went to my second spin class,
I was going to ask you about that.
Oh.
which was
You're
I
still
mean, the
going.
class, yeah, the class itself was still like it was still hard, but the first time that I went, like I think I don't remember which, probably last week, I could not walk. 2 days after, I could not walk for the next 3 days, like literally could not walk. And this time I didn't have that issue, so I'm getting better. I'm gonna be at the top of the
Ooh.
class in no time.
Yeah, you're working your way up.
Yeah, I had that as a note. I was gonna see if you were able to, get around. Is it just like intense soreness, or is it like so tight that you can't even like extend your leg? Or?
It was both. So like, I probably should have been more conscious of like trying to keep my legs bent while I was sleeping or something. Not that that's something that you can do, I guess, when you're sleeping, but I didn't stretch very much at all after the first spin class. And then it was like my legs could be completely straight, but anytime I tried to bend them towards 90 degrees, it would be intense excruciating pain. And then walking, I could feel every muscle on my quad that you need to walk. I could feel it super tight and painful the whole time. So I was walking around like a Frankenstein essentially, which was not fun. And everybody asked me if I was okay at work.
Did you get a grievous accident? Yeah, spin class.
Spin class, man.
This is how I walk now. What's the problem?
You should have a wheelchair and just told someone you broke your leg and tell
Well, hey, kudos to you for going back 1 week later.
Yeah, I think I can do it.
Did you
Just
stretch?
proving to myself that I can do it.
Good.
I did stretch this time, so
Okay.
that probably made all the difference in the world.
That's good.
Well, could I mention just a couple things I took notes on from your guys' last episode?
You sure can.
Okay.
You sure can.
So these are the really important things to chat about. First of all, Mark, I have a beef with you. Cody did me a solid and said that for our Audible ad, I probably ran from like outside to inside. And you were like, no, that was post-production. I did run. And it came out super mad. But anyway, so the effort was there. Clancy is our dungeon master on our D&D show, Drunken Arcanauts, part of Halfway Network. And I really wanted to go over this.
That's a little quick.
You said that there might be some concerns based on what he said in an episode that he could be like kind of an undercover Nazi.
It's a very hard stance, by the way.
It still
I
remains
gotta
to be
say.
seen whether or not, allegedly, he's not a Nazi. So that's all I know for sure. I've never seen definitive proof that he's not a Nazi. That's all I can say.
Well,
I'm just asking the question. Is Clancy a Nazi?
I'm going to go back and listen to try and find wherever that was, and I'm going to clip it, and I'm going to hold it against him.
Yeah, I'm not sure either what you're talking about, but
I have a vague recollection.
unless he's a closet one, I would say no.
It might have been just bullshit I made up, but it's more likely.
Obviously, we know him as a person, and he's not Nazi, but as well, he's kind of a darker complexion guy, black hair. So he certainly does not like appear like a Nazi.
That could be all part of the scheme, though.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point.
Double agent.
You never know.
I wanted to say on the note, Drunken Argonauts, thanks for putting us on Pocket Cast.
Yeah, thank you.
I had no idea about that. And I was listening to the last episode.
didn't either.
Cool.
He just went out on his own and did it.
My last thing, I do think that you should continue and maybe even add more fuel to the fire for the beef over Yumi and Bad Photos Forever and your upcoming podcast.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I mentioned last week. I deleted it because people kept following it. I made an Instagram called "You Me Good Photos Forever" and made one post that said Annie upload an episode, and it ended up like 10 followers by the time I got rid of the account. I only posted this one thing, and it's a joke for Annie. So that no longer exists, but it did crack me up.
Yeah,
that Jay got shit from Annie about that one.
Did you see her fucking light me up in chat?
Yes.
Yeah.
I talked to her afterwards. She's like, "What the hell's going on with that blah blah?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's okay." But I think I did like.
I get why she was so hostile, but I don't know why she was hostile towards me. I did not do anything.
Except you did like the page. You liked the Instagram.
Yeah, unlike everything that I could like it on. I mean, I followed it on everything. But it had nothing to do with you creating it. It had to do with the whole other element. Well, no, because she was mad about what's-her-face's ex-boyfriend, about how he's a crazy person.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so she lit me up. She lit me up because of someone else's shitty ex-boyfriend. I don't know why that's my fault or my problem.
Well, anyway, that was all I had from the last show. So those are the chat thoughts.
Chat thoughts.
I put down some chat thoughts of my own about Halfway to Thundertown. So I don't really know exactly how I came across Halfway to Thundertown. Probably when I was getting into podcasts and starting my own, I searched podcasts. and I found Halfway to Thundertown, and I've listened since the beginning, including the original 5 lost episodes, and now the
How did
original
you
10
stay? How
lost
did you stay with
episodes.
us? Like, what was in your head? What's wrong with you? Why would you think that it's a good idea to keep listening?
I don't know, but I'm not the only one. Lots of people listen now.
Yeah, well, that's true.
At least 10, I would say.
At least 10,
people
yeah.
At
probably
least a
listen.
minimum of 10.
Which
Yeah.
was our only goal ever for the longevity of it. So, yeah.
Half of them are in this podcast, half those 10.
If it hadn't been for you stumbling across us, which I'm still really surprised you found us that early, yeah, we would have met each other and teamed up.
It may have even been me because when I created that Instagram account, I added like 3,000 people. So I may have just added you and you added us back just because you were looking at podcast things.
That could
I
be.
wouldn't rule it out.
That could be. But that has happened, and I've tried other podcasts that have followed me. I'm like, I can't listen to this. And then I just get rid of them. I don't know what it was about Halfway to Thundertown and now Drunken Arkanauts, which I still don't like that name. But for some reason, I continue to listen, so that's good.
Turns out D&D related names are really taken, like a lot of them. You have to get kind of outside the box.
Clancy and I spent 3 hours searching names, and they were all taken.
The one that I liked the best was Drink for Initiative,
Yeah,
which if you know D&D,
that was
makes sense.
taken. It was taken.
Oh.
It was instantly.
We did have more original ones, except it turns out they were not that original. So.
Yeah, they weren't original at all.
They were so original, other people already had them.
Yeah.
And most of them weren't even like podcasts. They were just like dumb YouTube channels of like literal, I hate to use this word, Noel, fucking nerds
Man.
with a shitty ass camera in like the kitchen playing D&D, and it was like awful everything because I went and watched them. It was bad.
It's not fucking gross.
No, it's too late.
Okay.
I did have a question about what you think will happen first. Jesus will come back, or Annie will post an episode on You Me Bad Photos.
So
But
I'm a firm believer in that Jesus is dead and permanently dead, and I still think he'll come back, maybe as a zombie or something else before Annie posts her first episode.
I would say, not that I am one, but from the Mormon perspective, Jesus is 2 for 2 for coming back. I
That's
think,
true.
right? Didn't he come back again?
Yeah,
after
like
the
he
3 days?
arose into the heavens, but actually instead of heaven, he just came over to North America.
It's like, oh shit, North America exists. Damn it, I gotta go there. So I would say Jesus before Annie. Yeah, he's already done it twice. She hasn't done that.
And then I think the last question that I had before I created a question, like if you've listened to Halfway to Thundertown, they have a question to answer at the beginning. So I made one of like IT flavor. But I have one more question about Halfway to Thundertown. What is maybe more for Jay? I don't know how much editing and other nonsense, Chad, that you have to do. But what has been the biggest challenge producing Halfway to Thundertown? And my guess is it Cayman?
Annie is the biggest challenge.
Oh,
And she doesn't talk into her damn microphone. So I have to boost the shit out of her volume. And because the way we have to edit, because there's so many of us in a room, we have major mic bleed. So I have to go and cut out the mic bleed from other people's mics. And instead of just being able to quickly do it by seeing everyone's channels, hers is just flatlined all the way down. So I have to actually listen to the whole entire thing in order to know when she's talking, so I just don't cut when she's talking.
and in her defense, she's done a much better job of it. And also,
Yes.
she joined us like 4 to 6 months after we had already
Right.
been going, so we had much more practice.
And I think I've broken the habit because she's pretty well stopped. She's been pretty
Mostly.
good lately. The last 2 episodes, she hasn't given me trouble because I've called her out basically every time I see her.
I would say our biggest issue was having a janky dog shit computer that we were using to record. That
Okay.
did cause us
At
so
one
much.
point, we had 2 recording computers at the
Just
same
to see
time.
which one would work. on
Well,
the other day.
no, we had to use them both at
Oh,
one
that's
point,
right.
remember? When Russ was still on the podcast, we only had a 4-channel MIDI, and so we had a whole separate one hooked to a whole separate computer, almost as if she wasn't in the room with us, even though she was. So then we would have to do the same thing you do with Cody.
Leaps and bounds.
It was dumb. We did a lot of dumb fuckings, and then half the time the computers would fail.
Yeah.
like all the time.
And back in the day, only Jay had a condenser mic, and everybody else was on
Right.
whatever like $2 microphone you can get at Radio Shack or whatever.
It was Russ had like a phone box just full of random discarded old church microphones.
Yeah, they were from church.
So who knows?
And then I had the $300 Yeti, and the only one with one, so it sounded completely different.
We've had our challenges.
Good times. Okay, so the
Wow.
question that I had that I did not tell either of you that I only know and have prepared an answer for myself is, how would you punish a user who's repeatedly awful and you'd be able to get away with it? So I tried to take the spirit of Halfway to Thundertown.
Wait,
like you guys would probably say murder someone, but
Sure.
like it's harder to murder coworkers for me and get away
Will
with
you
it.
repeat the question for me again?
Yeah, so if there's a user who's repeatedly awful, he always forgets his password, or he's a piece of shit in general, or doesn't ever send tickets to support, how would you punish the user? What would be your ideal method to punish them?
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You can
Because
go.
I'm already fucked. My brain's already going crazy.
Yours is going to be
Fucking ready to go. Okay, so this is a method that they used several hundred years ago, and I think they should still now. So what you do is you get a horse and you fucking tie this asshole up behind the horse, and you drag him for like 20 miles at least. And when you get back to your studio or your house or wherever it is you're bringing them, if they live, you feed them to the dogs, and if they die, you feed them to the children. That way, the meat doesn't go to waste. Because they're useless, obviously. If they can't do their job, fuck them, just kill them and send them on their way.
And you're going to get away with it. You're going to drag him 20 miles back. So that's a 40-mile round trip.
Right.
Butcher him, feed him to living.
Children, yeah.
No one's going to narc.
No,
Wow.
children are fed. No one.
Audacious.
Do you hate children? Do you not want children to eat food?
Well, I don't want him to starve, no.
Jay is
Exactly.
very notoriously concerned about the children. Like if the children can get picked up from
What are the
school or
future?
wherever.
Yeah, I'm doing God's work, really.
Thundertown episode, I remember.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I would say something slightly more mundane. I would do like kind of oh man, like sort of a time-based psychological mindfuck with them. So like at first I would probably at least like every Saturday I would go into the office when they're not there, and I would have taken an image of their computer, and every Saturday I would re-image their computer with that whole, so all their not things server-based, but anything on their computer files and everything would just be reset every week, every single week. They'd be like, where's my shit going? Why is it always just like this specifically? I would do little things like where you can invert the desktop, or just little stuff like that, where you turn I'm trying to think. You change the icons of all the shortcuts, so they're clicking on Internet Explorer or whatever, and it's actually, who knows what. I would just do little mundane shit like that, but I would do it very consistently and very orchestrated, to where maybe they would write tickets in, but they would sound like a crazy person to be easily dismissed by everybody else.
You could
And just
even
slowly drive.
you could even just unpin like from their taskbar. So many users think that their program is missing because they can't click on their taskbar where the
Or else
shortcut is.
it's gone forever. Yeah, stuff like that. I would do that. And I would not murder them and drag them by the horse.
Well,
For the
that's
record.
your own prerogative, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, different strokes, I guess. I think that I would create a program to launch on their computer. It's a little bit of work for me, but I think it's worth it to drive them crazy. That lets them log in like the first time that they come in during the day, and then whenever their computer locks inevitably throughout the day, their password, like they try to put in their password and it just has reset. It tells them that it's incorrect. And they keep trying and they lock out their account, and then they have to come and deal with support. But I'm like, oh, and then so I've got some master password with this program. I type in whatever I want and it logs in immediately, and they think they're super crazy throughout the rest of the day. We have users who already say that they're typing in the right password. They're clearly not, because when I type it in, it does work. But I feel like that would be a good way to deal with someone. And then what else did I put? I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty decent one.
That's a good
People
one.
with their passwords. Oh my God.
So you guys don't think that murder is the first thing you should jump to then for a minor inconvenience?
To improve the
is what you're
workspace environment. No.
Yeah, I mean, for me, murder is not one of the first things. I have never been halfway to Thundertown, so that's not where my mind initially goes. Because I feel like it would be hard to get away with that. Like if everybody sees me tying this person to the horse and then dragging them 20 miles, like where have I been for the last hour? I don't know how to ride a horse. Like
That's why you just threaten them. That's why you just threaten their family.
Mark, that made me think of a question for you.
Sure.
So being the kind of the main tech person in a family, I did IT very briefly as just like an intern right out of high school for the school district. And it was just like imaging like very old Macs and just very basic stuff, plugging keyboard, fix a printer. But there's always that thing where, like you're saying with the passwords, I did it just like you did it. I pressed the same button, I did whatever, and it didn't work, but you show up and now everything magically works. How much do you believe in that magical element of the informed tech user?
It definitely exists. We just had a situation like this between me and Cody. So we're setting up multi-factor authentication for our Office, like Microsoft Office. So anytime somebody tries to log in wherever in the world, Russia or China, wherever, to one of our email addresses, somebody on their phone gets a little thing. They have to approve or deny, just like Google and everything else has multi-factor. We haven't had it for 7 years that the business has been operating, but we're implementing it now. So we were setting it up on 2 users' computers to test it out because it works for me and Cody. So 2 new people. I set mine up. These are the receptionists. They sit right next to each other. There's 2 of them. I set mine up in 5 minutes and everything was working great. Cody spent 20 minutes on his. He was going to just turn it off and try to figure something else out. So I was like, let me try. I sit down for 2 minutes and it works immediately. He was so pissed.
Yeah. Well, that's the infuriating part is that on the surface, it seems like they did nothing different, but their presence is what did it. That's it.
That godly presence.
Yeah. Or something.
Okay, let's see. I did find some, this was more in, this was not on an episode of Halfway to Thundertown, but it did regard some things. I think probably more with Drunken Arkanauts. We'll see if you can get what the theme is with the Reddit stories that I found.
Okay.
Let's see. Is this the one? No. I'll read some of them and then I'll put the other one in like the show notes because it's either too long or I just don't feel like reading it. Maybe we'll do this one. I don't know for sure that these are the ones that I looked at before. Yes, they are. Okay. Thanks, Reddit, for pushing your sidebar all the way into the middle of the screen.
Do you use old Reddit? I do.
I don't know.
If you type in old dot before reddit.com, it takes you to old
no, because I've never typed old dot for anything.
Old.reddit.com. Everybody should do it.
Okay, you heard it here first.
Superior.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay, so this guy, let's see, what's his name? Oh, D. Kowalczak, so Polish, writes, I had a customer come up to me expressing how badly they needed their data after they lost their flash drive and asked me whether I can recover the data from it. Hi, I lost my flash drive and I seriously need some of the files from it. I don't care about the money I paid for it. I just want my files. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Have you made any backups of your data? No, that's your job, isn't it? Well, no, it's not. We just sell these. That's false advertising then. Excuse me, does it state on the packaging that we back up your data for you? Yes, it does. We walk over to the flash drive section, and I notice that this particular flash drive comes with free portable recovery software. I see the misunderstanding. The flash drive comes with free backup and recovery software. You back up the files yourself. We don't do it for you. Have you used the program to back up your data? No, that's ridiculous. Are you telling me that you have missold the flash drive to me? No,
Did you think it was fucking life a lock?
I just stated the fact that the program's on the flash drive and what it enables you to do. Change your attitude and recover my files now. I don't have time for this. I'm sorry, but if you haven't made any backups, there's no way we can recover your data for you. Right then, I want your first name, last name, phone number, and address. I work for the local newspaper, and I'll write up a bad article about you and your company and why my article couldn't be published because you missold me a flash drive. You wait when my partner comes to pick me up. Okay, feel free to do as you desire. I just work here. The customer's partner arrives. The partner asks, is there a problem? The customer says, yes, these thieves missold the flash drive to me. It said free data recovery included, and I lost my flash drive, which contained important files for work, and they won't recover the files. Let's have a look. Did you install the recovery program? No, I didn't know I had to install it. then how are they supposed to recover your data?
Nice.
I don't know. It's their job. No, it's not their job. Sorry about this. My partner's new to all this technology. That's okay. It happens. Have a nice day.
Oh, I have 2 quick thoughts on that.
Oh my God.
I used to, at first I was like an in-store rep for Sprint selling cell phones. Did that for like a few years. Now I went into outside business sales. But so I've dealt with those ignorant, pissed off, asshole customers. Secondly, my answer to that would be, well, it depends on the climate of the town you live in. So if it's a dry climate, you're probably not going to have any luck. But if it's humid, it's access to the cloud. So that as long as there's enough humidity in the air, you can access the cloud and you can trail through the cloud and find that flash drive that you dropped wherever you did, and then you can drop files out of it through the cloud.
So that's a really good point to live in, not a desert.
If you want to be able to remotely back up your house from the cloud.
Right.
when you don't have it. Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mark knows that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Don't live next to the equator is what he's saying. If you want to back up your files easily.
Yeah, but if you live this far away, like I
Right.
feel like you guys are probably on
Yeah,
the
that's
same,
right.
what is it, latitude line? Similar latitude to us. Like
Yeah.
it's humid half the year, but it's also like 20 degrees for a good 20 degrees as a high for maybe a month of our winter. And the rest of the time it's freezing as fuck. So
We're pretty lucky here because while the rest of the PNW is a frozen hellish
Rain,
shitstorm, we're really low in elevation.
We're low desert.
We're like 600 feet.
We're in a canyon system.
Yeah, so we got it pretty good here. We got it pretty good here.
It's a dry climate. So we would have trouble probably half the year at least getting files from the cloud from our own
Yeah.
house.
my favorite part about this Twitch stream so far is that Jay is looking off at the screen in a corner somewhere, and Chad is like staring me straight in the eyes every time I look at the video feed.
We're amateurs. So.
Chad's a little more professional than me. I don't care about the goddamn camera.
Let's see. This one's sort of. So I mean, you probably can guess what the what the theme is. Can you guess what the theme is?
Is it humidity?
No, close. Very close. It's an issue that you had when I think your hard drive crashed with all of your edits for
Data
fucking
loss.
You
Arcanauts.
gave me PTSD. I'm gonna like choke out Chad and leave me too.
Is
So
it,
you
so
should
it's
pack
data
up your
loss
shit,
then? It's
guys.
something
Yeah,
like
backup. Backup is
Backup,
the name of the
okay.
episode. This one's not specifically backup, but I thought this was funny. Yep, Mr. Hanakna got it. Austin. It's easier to say Austin. I still don't know what Mr. Hanakna means. But he's our number one fan now. So, who's this person that wrote this? Kurt Ludwig. Oh, you're using your full name. Cool. A few years ago, a customer came to my attention that was on a quote hand grenade version, which of software, I guess he didn't write that word, but which had a known bug that would cause data loss if left alone long enough. I called and suggested that the patch would take just a few minutes to install. They told me to take a hike. They weren't upgrading and wouldn't give us any more money. I explained I didn't want any money. The upgrade was free, and I'd gladly walk them through the upgrade for no charge. They said they weren't interested in upgrading and hung up on me. About a week later, I called again, and they quickly told me to stop calling and hung up. Another week goes by, and I send an email. In the email, I include the URL for the patch and detailed instructions on how to apply it. The email started with, "You will lose data if you do not follow these steps." In a few hours, I got a reply to, "Stop emailing us." Finally, another week goes by, and I send a certified letter that's basically a cut and paste of the email. A few days later, I get an email, "Don't send us anything. Stop contacting us. Leave us alone." Great. I filed all that away knowing it would be useful one day. It was about 2 years later, I heard through the grapevine that the customer had lost all of their data. It had happened at a particularly bad time, doesn't it always, and they were suing us for damages. So I took a walk down to see our general counsel. I'd met the woman before but didn't really know her beyond coffee machine talk. I tapped on the door and said, "I think I can make your day, but it's going to cost you lunch." She seemed skeptical but agreed to lunch, and I produced a manila folder with my call log, copies of my emails and the replies, the receipt for the certified letter, and a copy of their email reply. Lunch was really good.
That guy, that person, is a champion for doing the due diligence in the moment of following through with an asshole, as well as doing the paper trail, and then getting that 2 years later. Like that person probably thought, "Oh, that'll never come to fruition," but then they get that vindication. Oh, it's so sweet.
That's a long wait. Like that's a long time to have to wait for that. But
Yeah.
I mean, it might be sweeter because it did take that long. Like it
Yeah.
eventually came, knowing that they were a piece of shit.
Well, they may have forgotten about it. Like, oh my god, I hope it's out of that folder in my desk.
That guy never did. He had it on a flash drive. He had it on a external hard drive. He had that shit on the fucking cloud, man.
Little chip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That is a beautiful story. I really like that. Fuck that customer.
Yep.
So the moral of all of these stories that I think Jay would be, well, you did have like the data that like your hard drive just crashed, Jay.
Yeah, I just lost my programs. I didn't last the data that I had from the programs.
Yeah. So Jay knows to back up. He just lost like 6 hours worth of editing.
Well, and again, if you live in a humid climate.
Well, and again, that was my fault because I was mid-editing when it happened. So I had the file open, editing, and had been working on it for hours at that point. And I wasn't hitting save as I went, you know, because I had been drinking a lot of scotch, was having a great time, and was really thinking things through. And then you bump a chord. The next thing you know, your whole drive crashes and you lose almost everything.
I do want to respond really quick to Mr. Knock Knock. The nice move, because that is an extremely unique name, and for the rest of your life, you never have a problem getting that on a user as a username.
Right.
Good job.
Yeah, that's true. I think on Instagram, Austin, isn't it just Hanakna? I don't think it's Mr. Hanakna, but it's Mr. Hanakna on Twitch. He'll hear that in about 10 seconds. And then
Yeah, 10 to 20.
I don't think it's been that bad recently, but who knows? You never know with Twitch. It'll like pop up like, oh, we're putting you on the low latency. Okay, I didn't ask for that. Why are you doing that? What if I want it to be farther along? I'll get the option, I guess. Okay, now we're going to do this little sound effect.
Breaking news.
I added the lady's voice because
It's breaking.
Cody would always say it. It was not supposed to be a breaking news sound, but
I don't.
As Hanakna on Twitch. Okay, so you probably know because it's been all over the place, unless you have been at work and not looking at your phone, which I don't think is a thing anyone does. What year? You'll probably know. What year Gmail launched? Now, ubiquitous Gmail service is launched as an invitation-only beta service. At first met with skepticism due to it being launched on April Fool's Day. The ease of use and speed that Gmail offered for a web-based email service quickly won converts. The fact that Gmail was invitation-only for a long time helped fuel a mystique that those who had a Gmail address were hip and uber cool. Those of us who were actually hip and uber cool didn't mind, of course, as those types of things don't bother hip and uber cool people. What year did Gmail launch?
So launch publicly, non-invite only.
Launch in general, like I think when they first launched, even invite only.
Oh, man,
I'm not sure.
Yikes.
You haven't seen any articles? Do you not have Android phones?
I do have an Android,
I
but
do.
I have not been paying attention.
I also don't care. So I'm going to say time is relative.
I'm going to
So
say that
it could be somewhere between the 1500s to 2500s. It's really hard to say with,
what time is a flat
life and
circle?
science and aliens are out there somewhere doing stuff. So it's,
That's a good answer.
you never really know.
I'm going to say that since it's newsworthy that it was 20 years ago in 99. Well, no, that would be way too early, wouldn't it? So maybe 10 years ago in 2009. No, I'll say 2009.
I'm going to go with 2000 and you said 9. I'm going to go say 2008.
Sure.
Neither of you were right. Mr. Knock Knock guessed 2004, which is closest without going over. It was 2004.
So it's 15 years.
So it was
anniversary.
actually correct. Yeah, 15 years. You were on the right track, just didn't pick the right amount of years.
I forgot that you can have anniversaries that are
Well, didn't
10.
Didn't Superman go around the planet once and reverse time or something?
Well,
So
no,
really,
it was-
I'm closest.
In the comic world,
Without going over.
Just like in real life, so we're not in that time.
Oh, we're
So
not
don't
that.
worry about
Okay,
it.
sorry. That's
Oh
my
yeah,
bad.
like that Into the Spider-Verse. That was a really good movie.
I haven't seen it either.
What?
But I've heard it's really good.
It's not in this multiverse, I guess.
It might not be.
There's another one.
Okay.
Breaking news.
It's not breaking news. Oh, okay. This year, March 31st of this year, Wabash, Indiana, just south of me, becomes the first city in the world to be completely illuminated by electric lighting, and the light was good. What year on March 31st was Wabash, Indiana, the first city to be completely lit with electric light.
Electric light. So we're answering independently, you and I, right?
Obviously.
Or do you
Don't fucking
Do
steal
you
my
want to go? Do
answer.
you want to go around?
Yeah, because it's
Which
history
person?
based and you want to know what I'm going to
I'll
say.
guess first then, so that I don't play off you. I'm gonna say 18. Can you give me yes or no on 18 or 19?
I'm not going to do that.
Okay,
I'm not gonna do
18, 1888. I don't know if that's like way
I
off.
was going to say about 1895.
I just listened to the electric chair episode of the last podcast on the left where they talk about Edison a lot, and that is the only thing that put me back before the 19th century or
Right.
20th century.
Yeah,
Okay, so you said 1888, Chad, and
Yeah.
Jay, what did you say?
1895. Ah,
Mr. Hanakna again is closest without going over. The correct answer is 1880.
damn.
Austin
Okay,
guessed 1874.
I was afraid I'd be like,
I didn't have to listen to last pod though to get close,
Shut
unlike some people.
up.
This is where we would usually take a break and talk about a show, but right now there's only 2 shows with episodes on the network. Annie.
There's 3.
Oh wait, what's the? Oh yeah, 3. Sorry, Drunken
Yeah,
Argonauts.
Drunken
I don't-
Argonauts has episodes, man. Good to go.
You know what? I
Only
will
3
plug.
shows.
I'll plug for Cayman.
Don't. It's not a real show.
It is. I've done it. So Cayman's doing. Did you ever listen to Mark Maron's podcast?
No, fuck Mark Maron.
Okay, that's.
Ooh, shots fired.
I have no problem with that statement, but his method of it was pretty good. The interview, and so it's just kind of a rambling conversation. Cayman guides it with pointed questions, covering all kinds of things, and just interviewing people in our town, so that you can have a show.
That was my favorite part of when you guys did that that series on. Was it Bundy?
It was Bundy, yeah.
Yeah.
When he did.
Yeah,
he
that's where it
interviewed people
came.
at the bar. I really like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he took that and ran with it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So that's what his new podcast that has not released, that is not yet released, is.
That may not.
Yeah, we'll see what comes out first. Annie's or Cayman's
Or Jesus.
or Jesus.
Jesus might.
Yeah.
He could surprise us.
Jesus might join the network and come out with episodes before they fucking do.
Been a couple millennia, allegedly, but what can you do? Oh, there's some kind of chat. I don't know who this person is. I think they've been here before, Polar Knights. Oh, Annie's here.
And oh shit, Annie just stopped the chat.
Shots fired, Annie.
Damn. Oh damn, she heard all of that. Wow. You weren't supposed to hear that, Annie, even though you haven't had any episodes come out ever. And you
Oh man.
Hey, Annie, I did direct message your Instagram and say that I would be on an episode or whatever episode you want me to be on, but you never responded, so I'll take that as a rejection.
Damn.
No, she
you
said
got
it.
it handled. You got it all under control. And episodes are 40 minutes.
I do believe she said to us that that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
For what it's.
Yeah, she did.
Until she says it in the Twitch chat, I don't believe you.
This is contractually binding, legally binding.
Just as long as you're okay with putting your work into something that she doesn't release.
I don't know what minor YMBPF
Yeah.
means.
Me and bad photos forever.
Does she have a separate one from You Me Bad Photos
I think
Forever?
so. No,
I don't think so.
no, he is talking about you, bad photos forever.
Well, that's a confusing thing to say, Annie. Thanks for that. Do you
Maybe she has
guys?
maybe she has a super successful podcast we have never heard about.
And she doesn't want us to be a part
Yeah.
of it because we'll know that. Yeah.
Oh.
Chad's gonna get on there and talk about aliens, and Jay's gonna talk about murdering people. No one's gonna like it. Oh, man. Halfway to Thundertown.
So here's a question about Drunken Argonauts that I have.
Okay.
The first chapter of episodes, there was a person whose name was not Risky,
Uh-huh.
and then is that
So
the same
I-
person as
I-
Risky?
I can answer that for you, actually. So initially, he used his real name, as you know, and then he wanted to change it, and he asked me if I could edit out.
All the 3 episodes that are already published.
Yeah, and so I said yes originally because the way that show basically records about 3 episodes at a time
Yeah.
because it's like a 6-hour, 7-hour stream. And I said yes. Well, then the whole computer crashing thing happened, and that was the episode. That was what I was editing at the time. And I told Clancy, Risky's gonna have to fucking get over it because I don't have time to edit his name out every time someone decided to say it to catch up. So
But he didn't say like his full name and his mother's maiden name, so it's fine.
and the social
First
security
name.
number,
Yeah.
and yeah. So I don't know why he was so worried about it, but
That's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Says he doesn't use
It
his
is
real
funny
name.
though, every time Clancy does say his real name, you're like, oh. And then he does it 8 times in a row, and you're like, oh boy.
I don't even
He
know.
likes to
this.
reference your intern too for some reason. Your intern
Yep.
Luke. I don't know
Yeah,
why Clancy does
yeah.
that.
Yeah, we got 2 interns, and yeah, they get referenced a lot. I don't know why. They're not even important people.
No, they are worthless.
Rope them up in a horse and drag them for 20 miles.
It's bizarre. Okay, now I'm gonna make you answer what I would make Cody answer with our Yahoo answers. Let's see, which one do I want to play today?
Yahoo!
I like the lower one better.
I'm excited for this.
User Anonymous. Anonymous we'll call Alf asks, how do I know if a Wi-Fi I'm using is being monitored? Additional details. I work at a gas station and they have a Wi-Fi router from Verizon. Irrelevant. It has a password, so not public. I always use my Android smartphone when I have free time. Irrelevant. I'm concerned my boss is monitoring the Wi-Fi and can see which websites I go on and my usernames and password. How do I know if the Wi-Fi is being monitored?
We are woefully unprepared to answer that, but I think I'll give it a crack. Good Lord. I'm just going to say there's probably software out there that could. Well, I don't know. Would you be able to see if someone?
Yeah, if
is
there's a
monitoring?
network.
It would probably
Well,
be
no, you
through,
probably can't see
well,
it.
it'd probably be through like the DNS IP and then as well maybe ports. I don't know. But if you're worried your boss is monitoring you, you have other problems, I would say. Right?
I would say that if now I have this really bad thing where I forget half the shit anyone ever says. Was this person at work when they did it? Like,
Yeah, they work at a gas station. They're on work Wi-Fi. Well, it's a public Wi-Fi. You should probably be more concerned that someone is stealing your username and password from this public
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
more
Than
than
your
the
boss
boss,
monitoring
definitely. Well, don't get on porn, and if you do, blame it on the guy pumping gas. And yeah, if you're asking this, then you're concerned about where you've been.
Yeah.
Also, what do you think that the standards for security are in a gas station? Like this is just kind of so outside of the scope of a gas station environment, I think. I don't know.
And my guess is if they run a gas station, they're not smart enough to create software that can monitor where the people on the free Wi-Fi go.
Yeah, I'm surprised they have public Wi-Fi at all. I don't think I've ever connected to gas station Wi-Fi. I don't know why I would need to.
Well, Mark, what do you think? Is there a way to be able to, like, can you tell from the other end if someone's monitoring at all? Like,
There's this person would never be able to tell because it'd be on the back end, whatever router or software they're using to do it, they could, but it's not like you can see, like all that stuff isn't transmitted in plain text. So you wouldn't see usernames and password. You'd have to try hard to do it. Not very hard, but you could try to do it. But like you said, if you're working at a gas station guy's not going to know how to do that. You're probably fine. But also, you could also do Google Fi. That's what I have for a phone provider. And it's got a built-in VPN. So Google can see everything that I'm doing and steal all that information, but nobody else can.
I'm going to agree with Mr. Katakana on this one. The boss isn't the one to worry about. He owns a fucking gas station. You need to worry about the asshole sitting a block down on the Wi-Fi stealing your stuff.
Andy, what's your opinion?
don't look at porn at work. It's just a rookie. You know.
And if you do, download a VPN.
Or give your boss a copy. Send him the link. He'll be appreciative.
He might be. He owns a gas station. He's probably not getting it.
Oh man, come on, don't disparage church.
Gas station.
Yeah, they're big with Halfway Network, so we don't want to put off any gas station on
I
it.
can go to gas stations way more often than I'd like to. For non-gas related.
Sushi. User Tamim asks, I think Jay should take this one. What is RAM?
Yes, RAM. That is where when you go out on the town and you drink too much and someone looks at you funny and you ram your fist down their throat.
Pretty sure you're talking about the pickup truck.
Oh. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's
Dodge Ram.
that's when you take a truck and you tie someone up behind it, and you drag them 20 miles down the road, and you feed them to your children.
I wouldn't get to see the kids humans. You're trying to naturalize cannibals?
No. You need all the proteins. Fish, human, cat, dog.
If you want to hear more murder and feeding people to children and or horses or dogs, listen to Halfway to Thundertown on the Halfway Network. There's not a reason that anyone needs to explain to you on Yahoo Answers what RAM is. Just Google that. Why would you post that in a forum? It doesn't make any sense.
That was like the last episode. I forget exactly what it was, but Cody took the question verbatim, put it into Google, and found the answer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was like that. What's that? Some kind of game that's a puzzle, but also you paint a picture or something.
Yeah.
You Googled it and found it. These people are idiots. User Rena asks, "Where do I go if I want to print something?"
Additional details.
Nope, that's all. It's all caps too. She's very concerned.
A printer might be the right answer.
You go.
Where are the places you can find a printer? First of all, obviously,
Can't you just go yell at the printer and it prints stuff?
if you're in a humid environment, otherwise the clouds will not be able to have enough paper to type it.
Oh.
That's like always number one.
I don't know if I can technology. I'm sorry.
Library, easy one. If the library's closed, shucks. I'm sure like a Staples or a similar like kind of computer store you can print at.
You could probably hold up most gas stations, and they probably have printers in the back. To print out
Oh yeah, you could probably just print it if it's open Wi-Fi. Everywhere I go, I can see like people don't know how to lock down their printers on open Wi-Fi networks. I could just print to whatever machine there is, probably pretty easily.
Oh yeah, I was
Just
talking
look
about
for that.
taking a gun and making the gas station guy print you out stuff. But yeah, that's probably easier.
a book report due tomorrow.
Yeah.
She knows where to get a gun because it's America, but she doesn't know where to find a printer.
Well, right. I mean, you can find a gun on every corner. You can't just find a printer on every corner in America.
I just wanted
Kinko's
to,
still exists? Is that a thing?
maybe. I mean, there are like postal stores that do that.
Oh yeah.
I just want to do a shout out to our local libraries.
We don't have it. This is we're like in this weird area where libraries don't exist, so we don't have any.
Four books.
Let's see. User Cheryl. Oh, that's weird. I didn't know that those were the same question. Asks, where is my printer?
Well, that's really relative to where she put it.
There's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a dumb question. I don't know. Where's your printer?
It's probably at the gas station.
Could be.
Could be.
No?
Maybe she was waiting
She
to
was
go.
asking, like-
Scared it away.
Oh,
Somebody has asked before, like, where's my computer? And I think probably what they're asking is, like, where do I find that on my Windows
Oh,
desktop? I don't think there's a
That's
thing to type, like,
definitely
my
that's definitely
printer.
this question. Yeah, but we had to not.
There's no my printer. You can't type in my printer. That doesn't make any sense.
I think there's like a you go to control panel, and then there's like my devices.
Even if you just typed in my printer in the search bar, it probably would pull up devices and printers.
Oh, just from the word printer, it probably would do that.
I'm just putting in first.
I can't believe that someone asked that question, but they're still able to navigate, log in, and upload stuff.
They got to the internet somehow, which is beyond me.
Wow.
It's on their it was pinned.
Where's my printer? I don't even have a printer. Where the hell is it?
There's no printer in here.
I know. We should go find it.
The studio does not have a printer?
No.
What are we gonna
For
print?
all of your printing needs?
Yeah, print stuff.
You gotta print all your stats and
Print my stuff at work. People need it.
we have a thing like you have to put in an account to charge for everything that we print. So
At work?
yeah.
Yowza. Do you work? You don't work.
There's accounts that you can build that just for your personal stuff, but we definitely see when you do it.
Okay. Do you see what they do when they do it? What they print?
We can't like it doesn't give us an image, but we can see what the name is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So if you name it, if just like name it random alphanumerically, and you'll be okay. If you name it like my resume for my next new job, then you're probably gonna get fired that day.
Super weird.
That's just like a fuck you call out post. Like I don't even care about leaving this job.
AIT guy, I dare you to tell the boss.
Yeah.
User CC asks, do people on Instagram just follow random people?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm convinced
I
no
do.
one follows anybody they actually know on Instagram at all. In fact, you see those people that have 200 followers and they're following 20,000 people.
I just know that I myself am following 130 people. There's no way I know 130 people. I know 5 people and none of them like me.
I'm one of them, and I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't use social media that much, though. So, yeah, I think yes.
I
Everyone's
don't know how
fake.
many people I follow.
Everyone's
Let's see.
definitely fake.
I follow 774 people.
Jesus
How many followers?
Christ, Mark.
And I know every goddamn one of them, so fuck you, Jay.
Do you really?
You know 700 people? Jeez, man. I'm going to pull a Cody real quick. Do you have autism or something? Jeez.
I'm not editing that out either.
Oh, man.
You shouldn't.
Cody says worse. User
I know.
anonymous.
I channeled him on that one. He actually sent me a text message to say that.
User anonymous will call. Cayman asks, IP address question. Does it vary by computer device or the network connecting said device to the internet?
I believe,
Wait,
well, IP address, I believe it comes from, because you have your MAC address, that's your
Right.
device's ID. And the IP address comes from your ISP, but no, you can edit your IP address. God,
yeah, you can. I don't know.
You can manually change it.
I'm
I
always
wonder
from
where it's
Texas. That's all I know.
directed from. IP address is from Texas.
Mine is.
Oh, use a VPN.
Yeah.
And you picked Texas for that?
He just likes more ping. He's sadistic.
I think we've said this before. People are very confused. I don't understand why this person needs to know this information at all. But people get confused about networks. So if you're on your home network, there's an IP address on your network. But they're called IPv4 addresses. There's a very limited number of them in the world. So you have your own network that has its own set of IPv4 addresses, and none of them should have the same one because that'll create a conflict and your stuff won't work on the network. So if you're printing wirelessly, whatever, in your own house, whatever it is, or you're trying to Chromecast to your TV from your phone, that's on your own network, and those are your own set of IP addresses. So it probably starts with 192.168. something. And then there's an external IP address that everybody in the world has their own unique one. It has to be unique. You get it from Comcast or AT&T, your ISP.
So does your ISP,
like you
okay.
said. Yeah, so you have one for everything in your house to reach the outside internet. So you've got all the ones in the house for your internal internet, but the one for the outside internet is not going to start with 192.168. anything. That'll be whatever it is, wherever you live, those blocks, even in your like general location in your neighborhood where you live, they're all blocked out that way. So your neighbor has a similar IP address for the public internet that you do, just a number or two different sort of thing. So that's why they're different. You've got one for the external internet, but there's only so many to go around. IPv6 has like billions more, maybe trillions more, I don't know, possibilities, but nobody uses that because it's hard to remember.
Well, I think you're right, too, that someone asking that question probably doesn't get to know.
Well, I just got to say that thank God there was a tech person on this episode to really carry us home.
Yeah, we'd be floundering. We wouldn't be able to find our printer in Baltimore.
I know.
You'd be like Cheryl.
Yeah.
This whole episode would just turn into accents and
Yeah.
nonsense real quick. We'd be floundering so bad we wouldn't even be on task at all.
Sometimes Russian accents, and I can't always tell who's doing the Russian accent. Like there's Russian accent on the end of Drunken Arkanauts, and I can't tell if it's Jay or Clancy's doing.
That's Clancy. We both have solid Russian accents.
But absolutely anytime there's a Russian accent.
On Thundertown, it's me.
Yeah, Clancy did not do any accent when he was on Thundertown. User Anonymous will call, let's see, what letter have I not done? Liam asks, should I really unmount my USB from my tablet before removing it? I've yanked it out over 100 times without unmounting it. Nothing was lost or damaged. So just curious as to why they say you have to unmount it.
Isn't that like an
I believe so.
older USB, like a 1.0 type thing?
I think that it was where if you did not do that, there's a chance your files become corrupted. But I think that now because I imagine that's probably like a safe state issue where maybe if you did it without, God damn it, what's the term? Releasing it, whatever. That it would corrupt the files because it's still like open in the software and it has it fully saved. But I think now it kind of like live save because you like as far as I know, right, Mark? You can just pull out a USB and pretty much be saved.
Yeah, you should be able to. And even anytime that I try to eject it from whatever it's plugged into, whether it's a Mac or a PC, it's like, oh, you can't do this. It's doing something. It's definitely not been doing anything for 10 minutes. There's no read or write happening. I can eject it, and I will eject it, and I do anyway. I just pull it out of there. So I don't think it's a big deal anymore like it was, like you were saying, back in 1.0. Like, we're far beyond that, but I feel like it's not a big deal. But it shouldn't also, like we had, there was a lady at work today, I won't say who it was. She'll know who she is, and I think she listens to this. Anyway, she plugged in, she has a Mac at home, and she had all her files saved there, and she tried to plug it into her PC, her Windows computer at work, and it said, you're going to have to reformat this to work with your Windows PC, and luckily she did not do that, but she was like, I can't, what's going to happen? This has all my important stuff. Do not store all of your important stuff on one flash drive. Put it multiple places, because if you drop it in water, you're fucked. All your stuff is gone. So that's not a smart thing to do.
I want to shout out to Liam for using the term yank 100 times. That's all.
Hopefully not.
If you're
one
going to
day.
yank anything, it's got to be 100 times.
In a single day, though, it's going to be bruised, I would say.
Yeah.
It's not going to be in great shape, yeah. You might have to.
User Samantha asks, what are some good video ideas? I want to put some videos on YouTube, but I'm not sure what to do. Please help. Thanks.
So that's not a tech question. That's a creative arts question.
Yeah.
I'm not
Technically,
creative,
YouTube is
I need a
techie.
slam dunk idea.
I think
Why don't you tell me?
never mind, I'm not going to say that. Nope.
Good. I'm glad
No.
Jay is editing himself for the first time ever.
That I like the idea of that question that she is like, all I have to do to be able to make a YouTube channel is have someone tell me an idea, then everything else will just happen. That'll be easy.
Right.
Perfect.
And then she's got to ask that question every time she creates a new episode.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That's how we should have created Halfway to Thundertown. We've been such a better podcast.
See, there's a lot of times
Crowdsource it.
when I'm listening to the Help Desk Nightmares that I think to myself, I wish I could see that question when it was posted like that day so that I could respond to them and kind of bait them into a conversation and have a little back and forth. Because that one, I would absolutely just, oh man.
I have never posted a question because I'm not stupid to Yahoo Answers. So I don't know like what kind of, if they get a notification in their email, like someone responded to your thing. Because some people definitely go back through and like they pick the best answer or whatever, or they're just like refreshing their page all the time to see if anyone's answered their pressing question. I don't know how it works.
I would tell her the best idea for a YouTube channel would be dressing up rabid squirrels you find. And like do like the thing people do with small dogs with little outfits, but do that with like dangerous shit. Even find one with rabies. You could do like a special rabies episode.
Well, you did say rabbit.
Rabbit, is that skunks even? You know, maybe raccoons.
I really
whatever.
think that if you got a squirrel
Maybe some blush on their
that
face,
was
that'd be
rabid and just took it to a leash and
Oh, I
let it
said
go wild in a
rabbit.
group.
cool. Like a squirrel
Oh,
rabbit.
I think you said
hybrid.
rabbits.
Oh,
A
definitely.
rabbit squirrel?
I was
What about a rabbit
I'm trying to-
rabbit squirrel that you attach to a leash and let go in a McDonald's, like in the
That'd be
cake
like
pit
season two
area?
stuff, maybe. I mean, you're kind of going well outside.
No, I think that'd be good YouTube content.
We'll get all
That's
over
what I'm
it.
saying.
You could tie somebody to a horse and drag them 20 miles, and that would be a good video.
I mean, that's a long YouTube channel, like episode though. You want
You can
something
do like
quick.
the sweet motion shots. Like that's how YouTube works
just
now.
chop
It's got to
that.
be 20
Mm.
minutes because you can put in all the ads in there and make people watch 5-second
You
ads.
could get a drone and have it like fly right over the body as it gets torn up along the cement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might get demonetized though. I would guess.
Yeah.
I would
well,
say maybe don't do that and just dress up.
close-up shots of the children ripping out intestines and stuff. That'd be real good.
That's a good one. You should respond to her so she has all these. She can do it. I'm looking forward to your YouTube channel, Samantha. And you don't say what your YouTube channel name is. User, I named him Random Troll, asks, can you get in trouble for taking a poop or a pee on Facebook Live?
I guess it probably depends on whether or not you're showing any dung or vagina. I mean, that's really,
Or butthole.
Or butthole. Yeah, you got a close-up shot of your butthole, you're probably going to get in some trouble.
I think there's kind of layers of intensity. So obviously, if you have a bowl shot, you got a GoPro in the bowl, that's going to be a negative.
Right.
I'm going to say, like, I've definitely seen videos on YouTube of people on the toilet, but everything's covered up, but you're like seeing them through a door, you know, and they're like talking to somebody like, oh man, don't miss me when I'm taking this. So I mean, so those are kind of the two extremes. Somewhere in the middle.
So you just can't see any buttholes or vaginas or dongs, and you should be okay.
Then you should be
And
fine.
if you really want to make a video like that, you can post on Vimeo. They let everything fly.
Yeah, if you really want to show your holes,
Mm-hmm.
then or your dong, then there's plenty of sites you can show that stuff onto, and they'll be really into it. Just Facebook or any of that's not.
Well, and especially too, the place that you should do it before you upload it on the internet is send it to halfwaythundertown@gmail.com. We would love it.
Yeah, we would
Attention
like to
Cayman.
watch that.
Yeah, attention Cayman.
User JDane14key59
Sounds like a fake name.
went all in with that one. Asks, a real good one. What is the difference between internet and intranet?
I'll let Jay try this one. I know.
Well, one thing I know for sure is that internet means in, and introvert is someone who doesn't like talking to people. So it's probably an internet for people that just don't actually want to be on the internet. It's
Really?
anti-social media. It's anti.
You were so
you know?
close.
That doesn't sound that bad to me.
Yeah. Reddit is kind of an intranet by your definition.
Okay.
The answer is that intranet is an internal network. It's not connected outside of that enclosed network, and the internet is the global.
So it's like a decentralized.
Yeah, the internet is the tubes and wires that go all around the world. So, isn't that weird that they
Yeah.
can do that all across the entire ocean? It's pretty neat.
It is. The pictures, the cross-cut pictures of those sub-ocean cables, nuts. Like a foot across and all the.
It's weird how they've trained all of the sea creatures not to chew on those cables and those tubes. It's pretty cool. Like, there's a lot of cooperation, and that's how we're gonna solve global climate change.
You just got to shock them. You just got to shock all the fish swimming off the close.
Electrified around it.
Jay, I have a quick question for you. Do you think that there is a potential like situation or problem that humans have faced that cannot be resorted to violence as the answer?
Not so far, no.
Not so far.
Not
Okay,
in
so
history,
maybe
no.
one day. Okay.
It's hard to say. I haven't seen it solve. Yeah, violence is how we solve everything
Okay.
since our, since Jesus Christ created us in 1502.
Yeah. User. Oh, the last one that I have. User JR asks, is
What's with all these J's, man? I feel like this is a call-out post.
User JR asks, is Reddit a child-friendly platform?
No.
It's like asking a 4chan's a child-friendly platform.
Okay, kind of, but I mean, 4chan is a different level for sure. But no, it's people in the comments especially because I was gonna say maybe if you set up the kid with like, they're only subscribed to certain subreddits, but the second you go into the comments, it's just a shit show no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. So no, don't send your kid there.
No.
But again, I mean, kids are on YouTube all the damn time, and even more heinous trolling.
Yeah, watching videos
stupid
about
shit.
Momo.
Yeah, or all those creepy kid channels that are just so gross.
Why are you on kid channels?
No, you hear about it. No, it's channels.
You hear about them when your ears
You
through
hear
your
about
It's like that. It's that weird, like that weird one where they would dress up in like those what do they call them? Onesies.
Why are you doing this when you say
It's their whole
onesies?
body. They're onesie. It's like the Spider-Man.
It's the outfits like this.
What's the
Mark.
girl from Frozen?
It's the outfits like this.
Stop.
It's the one that children in and they're in outfits like this.
Anyway,
Not that
there's-
your podcast can see what we're doing, but my hand motions are over where my boobs would be.
Jay, I'm going to
That's
utilize.
what
I'm going to utilize a classic human resolution to all problems, and that is physical contact.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Don't let your kids be on the internet at all.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
front
yeah.
part.
Go to intranet.
But if they're gonna be on the internet, make sure that you don't know what they're doing, because you don't need to know that. Like they can figure it
Yeah.
out. That's
Teach
how.
them how Google has the incognito move.
Oh yeah.
Teach them that and just let them do what they're going to do.
Well, and the other thing too is that, as we always do in every situation, we should trust corporations entirely and
Right.
with blindness. So
Right.
Google and YouTube is huge, so there's no way that there's anything on there that could corrupt the mind of a young person or even an adult. So yeah, just free for all. Go for it.
I personally love Sundar Pichai, and I think that Jeff Bezos is a fantastic person. So that's my
Obviously.
contribution to that.
I like Jeff Bezos when he was like 1998, super nerdy, had a little book thing in his
So
garage.
like only books. That
Yeah,
was
that was a pinnacle of that.
great. Not trying to destroy the world.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, what does this button do?
It's actually, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
See,
Here is-
you're really fast. Your soundboard game is fucking on point. Jay needs to step it up in that department.
Well, first off, we have no soundboard.
I know.
Okay,
That's what I mean.
oh,
I know.
and if we did, the problem would be I'd get drunk and just every time
That's
King had
true.
said anything, I would just be soundboarding. So it would just be a recipe for disaster. We know it, yeah. We know who we are as people, and it's not good.
Here's the thing that's happening that I don't care about because I never used it. I signed up for it and then it's like, oh, you're now connected with everyone in the world. I don't care to have everyone in the world's birthday on my calendar. Google Plus is beginning to shut down today. How do you
Yes,
feel
yeah.
about this?
It was garbage when they released it. It's garbage now. It'll be garbage if they kept it for another 10 years.
It would have been one thing if it had been isolated, but the fact that like in any email you click someone's name, it'll go there instead of like, copying their email address or something. The fact that it was so ubiquitous, I hate it, that I just show up there. And the funny, I forget what it said, when you would never touch that, it would say something like, oops, there's nothing here, or something like that. It's like, yeah, no shit, there's nothing. Also, weren't there a few other parts of Google Suite that were getting benched as well alongside?
Google's, I don't know why the fuck they do this. They keep creating things like, oh, we have 5 different messaging apps. Oh, these ones aren't used. Now we're cutting all these out. Google Inbox that I loved and used and hate using, Gmail, is gone as of today. So I have to go back to Gmail. That sucks. I don't give a shit about Google Plus. I never used Google Plus. I signed up because I thought that it was going to be cool, and it was not.
Right.
Inbox
I did the
is
same
gone.
thing.
Allo is gone. I don't know why they created Allo. Hangouts is gone except for the
That was
like,
the
corporate
honest.
version.
Hangouts
Like,
was garbage, yeah.
yeah, I hated Hangouts. We tried to use Hangouts instead of Skype, me and Cody, one time, and that did not work at all. So that's gone.
We tried it too one time. We were having a meeting, and I think Cayman was at work or something. And so we tried Hangouts, and about a minute or two after trying Hangouts, we just went to Facebook video.
Yeah, we use Facebook over,
Yeah, over Hangouts, and
You just
Facebook
live
video
streamed the meeting.
trash.
pretty much.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Should follow the Halfway to Thundertown Facebook. Do you have one? I don't use Facebook. I barely even have a Facebook. You have one for the network too, or just the?
We have one for Thundertown, and we have one for the network, and we only have them for that because you have to if you create a business account for your Instagram.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Otherwise, no, we wouldn't.
Facebook sucks. You have
Yeah, because Facebook bought out Instagram. I don't know how long ago, but they own it.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg. He's a cool guy.
Is he?
Man, yeah, you really love your CEO, so that's great.
Weird
never done
lizard
anything bad.
person.
No, he totally has a soul, I'm sure. Of that.
Oh yeah, he's not a robot. Definitely not a robot.
If he was a reptilian, though, just shout it out. I'd love to be your slave. Live for thousands of years.
It's a weird. Oh well, the
Secret moon base. Have you seen the pictures of him commuting from the moon base, the reptile one?
I have.
I'll show you the pictures.
Thank
It's
you.
like
That'd be great.
and
I'm like,
they're
oh,
available,
you
too.
think? them?
Yeah, they're super real.
What's the video? What's the picture?
It's
quality?
pictures. It's 120p.
Okay, great.
It's very
I'm excited.
nice. Really good
I'm
quality.
excited to see him.
Is that even a real? I don't even know.
I'm sure there's.
Yes,
I mean, it
it's a
could
real.
be. You could
It's a
record
real.
to 120p. I don't see why not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you? So do you? Do either of you listen besides the few podcasts we're on? Are you big on podcasts? Because I always ask Cody what new podcast he listens to, and Cody always says something on NPR, and okay, that's not what I'm interested in at all.
I listen to the Dollop a lot.
Yeah. Dolph's great. Have you ever heard of that, Mark?
Never heard of that. That sounds like a made-up word to me.
You should listen to it. It's a history podcast, and they're fucking awesome.
It's two dudes who are comedians, but also I think primarily like writers, comedy
Yeah.
writers. And one of them does all the research and takes the other guy through a story he hasn't heard about. They're really big now. They half their episodes are live tour that they do. all over
Yeah,
the world.
it's a really good podcast.
It's very funny. They're very smart and good. Yeah.
They're not on the Halfway Network.
I would.
Can't be that good then.
They're probably good because they are.
Very nice to see. There's one that came and introduced me to called the Bigfoot Chronicles, and it's about Bigfoot. It's a dude who interviews basically anybody who wants to call in and share their story. So it's really more about kind of goofy, weird people out in the woods seeing strange stuff, talking about what they think that happened to them. So that was pretty good. I'm also, as I said, a big fan of Last Podcast on the Left.
Oh yeah, love them.
If you haven't somehow heard of them, you should listen to them.
Have they come out that way? They come out that way, right? Have you seen them live?
As it turns out, Cayman, Annie, and I have just got tickets like last week to their Seattle show.
Mhm.
So we'll be going to that. I think I actually don't know when it is.
I don't ever get to go because I can never get work out for stuff because I am a busy, important person and I've got more other things to do.
Responsibilities, adulting, #adulting. Is that what we say now?
Yeah.
Sure.
I have been listening to, okay, so here's the thing about me. I don't like to read. I can read. I'm able to read. I don't like to read. I don't find it fun to read or relaxing. It puts me to sleep. And I read in my head. Like if I'm reading something in my head, it's exactly at the same speed as if I'm reading it out loud because I hear my own voice saying it in my head. I can't speed read or anything like that. So I have never read one page of the Harry Potter series. So I'm listening to a podcast called Potterless. I heard this guy, I don't remember what podcast he was on, but I liked his voice. I was like, oh, he's got a podcast. I'll listen to it. I like the Harry Potter movies well enough. So he's not reading it live, like on the podcast, but he reads it and then he talks about what he's read on the podcast with whoever his guest is. But he's like flying. I've only listened to like 3 episodes. He's just flying through book 1, like we're up to chapter 8 or whatever it is. After 3 episodes, I don't know how that's sustainable, like what he's going to do, because there's only 7 books, but.
Yeah.
Right.
So he reads it. It's like an audiobook that he reads it.
Well, he reads it, then he just talks about, like, and this is what happened, and this would happen, like what he remembers or what he takes notes on, I guess. Versus what he thought before he read, because he hadn't read it either. He's reading it for the first time as a 25-year-old man.
Wow. That's really interesting about you not liking reading, because Cayman and Annie both prefer audiobooks. And I had never listened to an audiobook. I am the opposite of you. I really enjoy reading a physical book. So that's really cool. But the idea of hearing a book for the first time, especially a series like that, with commentary, that sounds pretty nice.
Unless have you read the Harry Potter series?
I have, yeah.
It sounds like J.K. Rowling is not, at least in the first book, very adept at writing. Like it is aimed at children, so I get that, but it sounds like, this is like these things don't make any sense, or these are just words backwards that you're making up now.
Yeah.
For sure, when she starts, because she was just some woman who started writing with no real background or history.
I think she was good at conveying kind of the emotion and sort of the world building, maybe more so than the more nuanced and detail.
She also just likes to add things years later
Right. Yeah.
But that's besides the point.
Oh, I did have one more. Did you ever listen to Comedy Bang Bang podcast?
I know of it, but I have not listened to it.
Okay.
That's Scott Aukerman, right?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily love anything I've heard him on, but is it good?
Definitely can see that. I like the people that are on it. Because they have the whole host of people like Jason Mantzoukas.
I love Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, so really talented people like that. So there's a spinoff. One of my favorite guys from that is named Andy Daly. And he has the Andy Daly podcast pilot project. And every episode is basically a quote-unquote pilot for a new podcast hosted by him as a ridiculous character. One of them's him as L. Ron Hubbard in the 60s doing a podcast. Anyway, it's all improv and it's very funny. Check out Andy Daly's podcast.
Sweet. I may check that out. I probably won't remember.
That's fine.
But I do have like 50 podcasts on Pocket Casts in the rotation whenever they push out. So
Cool.
It's possible it makes it into the rotation.
There's certainly too many.
Yes, there's
People
a
should
lot.
stop starting podcasts.
I know it's dumb.
Be done.
I don't know why we ever did that at all.
I don't think a year, like, I don't know, 14 months ago or whenever we all started, I don't think it was saturated, but I don't think it was nearly as bad as now. Now it's like
I agree.
all of
Yeah.
the big actual networks of TV and radio are doing podcasts. Like, come on, this is our thing. You could do it on the thing that people listen to already.
Well, and it's gotten monetized and corporatized a lot,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, like you're saying, big names are coming in and showing it. I think about pretty often. I think about really ridiculous dumb shit a lot, especially because I smoke a bunch of that weed.
That
But
would, yeah.
so oftentimes I think about what the next medium will be for content delivery after podcast, and I have no idea what it would be. But if there is something that's as revolutionary as podcasting, I can't wait for that. Whatever it is, I'm gonna get on the ground for.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be. I didn't think that
I don't know.
podcasting would be a thing, but here it is.
I think it might be something with augmented reality, maybe something like that.
Let's see. Oh, let's see if anyone left us a review. I don't ever look at this because iTunes takes forever.
Mhm.
Oh, Mr. Hanakna did. Most recent.
Oh, that was nice of him.
He did on March 25th, so Austin left that.
Mr. Hanakna also said he listens to Reply All every week. I've never listened to that, but I have heard really good things about it. Reply All. Oh, we disappeared.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
know
wouldn't
what
know
to
too
do.
much about it.
They don't want to see that anyway. Oh, there you are.
What the hell?
Oh.
We only need to see Jay.
That was weird.
Now you're in a tiny box up at the
That's
top,
fine.
at the end. Oh, my outro music is playing for some reason.
Hopeless Nightmares on the Halfway Network.
We're gonna scooch that over because I wasn't quite finished. Yeah, listen to the stuff. Annie will eventually post an episode, I think, but listen to the other shows, the other two shows on the network right now. Allegedly Cayman will post episodes. But I really like Drunken Arcanauts. I have, like I said, I think I said before, I have never ever played D&D. I don't think that I would like it to play it, but I like listening to it. So
Yeah, that podcast already is taking off like fucking wildfire. It's blown up way faster than I expected with how little work we put into advertising its existence.
Well, I was really surprised too, listening to your last episode. That you said that both you and Cody have listened to it, especially because it took so long for Cody to listen to Halfway Thundertown. So
yeah.
kudos to Cody.
Yeah, it took him 69 episodes.
But I think I would definitely say on Drunken Arcanauts we're loosening up, and it's getting so crazy. Like this last one was just ridiculous and hilarious the entire time. So I'm pleasantly surprised with the content quality.
And for people listening, that episode he's talking about is weeks out.
Yeah,
So,
two,
you know,
probably.
there's that.
Anyway,
I was very surprised at the amount of I don't want to give too much away, but the amount of turnover that there has been so early on.
it only keeps going.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't think that's how normal D&D goes, but yeah.
I was also surprised that Annie came out so strongly with Tuco. It's like, oh, did not expect that.
Yeah.
Annie against
Right.
Cayman, and that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it. Listen to the shows. Listen to the shows,
Okay.
you pieces of shit.
Yeah,
I don't
please.
usually be mean to
We're
that. But it
desperate.
feels like since you guys are here, I should be mean to the listeners.
We're very desperate.
Oh.
Please give us attention.
Don't
Please.
leave me any 2-star reviews. That was a mistake that Chad made at one point that people did.
So on the bright side, whoever left bad reviews went back and unleft them, and we're all good these days. We're all 5
nice.
stars. We're yeah.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, it fixed. I don't know why. I don't know if iTunes just was like, this was like a garbage post, obviously, or if that person was like, okay, that was funny, I'm gonna undo it. I don't know.
I
But-
sued him is what I did
Oh, okay.
for
Well, that works.
defamation,
That works too.
even though I faked it.
Even
Yeah.
though you solicited it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
listen to the stuff
Yeah.
on halfwaynetwork.com. That's where I actually would go if I was going to stream this. I don't like the interface of Twitch. So
Mhm.
whenever I go watch the streams, I just go to the halfwaynetwork.com website to watch the streams.
Smart. Yeah.
It's
Cool.
like pared down. I don't have to see any other nonsense. I don't want it to give me notifications. I've never done anything else on Twitch.
Yeah.
Just show me what
Agreed.
I'm coming here to look for, not
Yeah.
badges or whatever I've earned doing nothing.
We have 4 friends. We don't want your badges.
Yeah. Well, Mark, I'd say thanks a lot for having us.
Yeah, this has been fun. I know nothing about tech, so
I know.
me
barely
talking mostly about murdering people has been great.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Jay Super really actually honestly does not kill people in real life as far as we're aware.
There's no
don't be
evidence.
You
surprised
never
by
know
that.
what Jay does, though.
no
That's
one
true.
knew.
It's hard to tell.
Thank you if you check out halfwaynetwork.com, and especially big thank you if you follow Halfway Network and every other show, including Help Desk, on social media, so you can see new stuff coming out down the road, because there will always be new and more and new stuff.
Yeah, not necessarily better, but newer.
Just it's other, yeah.
It's other stuff.
There is, and there may be an Annie episode at some point. So
Who knows?
I
Nah,
look
I
forward to
don't know.
that. At someday, maybe I'll be able to say this is my favorite episode of Annie's podcast. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'd all love to do that.
and
Sure
hopefully you'll
would,
be on
Annie.
there,
Annie's
too.
still in the chat, so she's hearing it.
Yeah.
I love how this keeps resizing. Okay, I'm gonna stop
I
this.
know. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop the stream.